When you picture the avatar of destruction and power in the universe, your first thought probably isn't a round, pink, hungry baby thing.
But what do you know, we have two shining examples today. Majin Buu, the doughy destroyer of the gods from Dragon Ball.
And Kirby, the dream guardian from the stars. I'm Aqua, the mouse with the vision.
And I'm Ecto, the ghost with the free time.
Together we've analyzed these combatants' powers, skills, and feats to find out who would win a fight in the realm of gods.
Long ago, in the realm of the Kais, the gods of creation lived in peace and oversaw order. Until one day, an evil wizard named Bibbidi awoke an uncontrollable and insurmountable being of pure chaos and destruction. Enter Majin Buu.
Buu went on a rampage across the universe, reducing galaxies to nothing, and even the Kais themselves were no match for his power. Just before Buu could destroy the last of the Kais, the Grand Supreme Kai stepped in and was absorbed. But due to the pure innocence of his soul, Buu mutated into a fat, dopey blob, allowing Bibbidi to seal him away for millennia.
But if you've read enough stories, you know the only reason a villain is ever sealed away instead of killed is so they can break out later.
At the 25th Tenkaichi Budokai tournament, two proud Saiyan warriors were going head-to-head in a grudge match that would shake the very galaxy. Bibbidi's descendant, Bobbidi, had mind-controlled the Saiyan Prince Vegeta to gather enough energy to break Majin Buu's seal, and unfortunately, he succeeded.
With a whimsical jig and some incoherent shouting, Majin Buu didn't seem very threatening. That is, until he turned the king of all demons into a cookie, ate him, and proceeded to beat the absolute shit out of the Z-Fighters.
Yeah. Buu has some incredibly weird abilities due to his magical nature. He can transmute anything with a beam from his antenna, usually turning objects or people into candy. Turns out, he's got an insane appetite, with basically a bottomless stomach that contains another dimension with gross worms and people holding pods of gum. He can even assimilate the attributes of enemies by absorbing them directly, or split them up from the beings they've merged with.
And if you couldn't guess by looking at him long enough, he's made of rubber. But how did that happen? Or, more aptly, his body's incredibly malleable. He can extend or enlarge his limbs, shrug off blunt attacks like they never happened, and squash or stretch to basically no detriment.
But the weirdness doesn't end there. He can grow extra limbs, tear chunks of himself off to use like a whip or a snare, and even regenerate. He's come back from nothing but smoke after Vegeta nuked him to Kingdom Come, and even if he's blasted into little pieces, they just grow into tiny boos that can swarm his enemy.
As you may expect, with a virtually indestructible, violent, nuclear baby, Buu was nearly impossible to overcome. With the Z-Fighters down and out, Goku disappearing back to the afterlife, and the one person who could hope to rein Buu in having his, oh, damn. Humanity was subject to Buu's rampage completely unimpeded. But something unexpected happened.
Through the kindness of a blind boy, a puppy, and the people's champ Mr. Satan, Buu actually learned empathy. Getting Buu to rein in his terror was literally as simple as just asking nicely.
But because humans are just the worst sometimes, some asshole shot Buu's new puppy and sent him into a blind fury, shitting out an evil gray version of himself that promptly ate him, and became a whole new kind of terror. Super Buu.
Super Buu is to this day one of the most intense foes the Z-Fighters have ever faced. The very balance of the universe was at stake, with Super Buu screaming and tantrums being enough to tear open holes in space and make the universe collapse in on itself. If that wasn't bad enough, he was absorbing the most powerful fighters they had one by one.
To deal with this, Goku and Vegeta fused into the legendary, and Loki overrated, Vegito to attack Buu from the inside, which actually worked, and they managed to free their friends from his weird internal dimension.
Goku and Vegeta actually managed to save Fat Buu from inside his evil half, allowing him to help out in the fight against another form change. Congratulations! It's a Buu! Kid Buu to be precise, who is basically all of the evil and destructive nature of Buu's original self compressed into a child.
Fat Buu, who we'll call Good Buu to avoid further confusion, actually put up a halfway decent fight against Kid Buu, stalling long enough between himself, Vegeta, and Goku for his best buddy Mr. Satan to send his evil half straight to Hiffle. Well, actually, Goku nuked him with a spirit bomb, one formed with energy moving almost 18 quadrillion times the speed of light, by the way, and he reincarnated into a kid named Oob. That's Buu backwards. But he couldn't have done it without Satan.
With threats to the world gone for a time, Buu actually grew pretty accustomed to living on Earth, even acting as one of the planet's first lines of defense, when he's not sleeping, which is a lot.
He's pretty damn good defender, too. Being a Dragon Ball character, Buu can harness his life energy into Ki for flying, creating barriers, healing, sensing others, teleporting basically any distance instantly, and a myriad of Ki blast techniques.
He can fire blasts of energy from his hands, mouth, or in an omnidirectional volley, and even the old reliable Kamehameha. His super breath can level cities and blow back projectiles, and his Innocence Express is like Arali's iconic dash, but it leaves a trail of death and debris behind him. He can take a quick nap to restore some stamina, fitting for the oversized baby he is. But make him mad and he'll literally start steaming like a kettle before exploding into a huge burst of energy.
With some training for the Tournament of Power and the eventual reawakening of the Grand Supreme Kai's powers within him, Buu's power grew immensely over the course of Dragon Ball Super. He went from a being that over time could destroy galaxies to being able to contend with and at times even outperform Goku's base form, who should be far in excess of his battle with Beerus, where they shook and threatened to destroy the entire macrocosm of Universe 7.
And against Moro, he did even better than Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta. Granted, they aren't immune to his energy-stealing abilities like Buu is, but even if Buu is only comparable to a tenth of their power, he's likely thousands of times more powerful than he was in the lead-up to the Tournament of Power.
Universe 7's Afterlife and the Mortal World have both been described as endless or infinite in size, which means that attacks would need to be infinite in speed as well to cross them in a finite amount of time. Assuming Hell and the realm of the Kaioshin are roughly the same size, this macrocosm could be as much as 4 infinite universes big. Being quite conservative and assuming Super Saiyan God is only twice as strong as Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan Blue is at least a 40,000 times multiplier on top of Goku's base form. Say Goku's base has only gotten 10 times stronger in the course of all of Super, which, considering his tough battles, intense training, and time in the time chamber, is likely a massive lowball.
Taking the size of Universe 7, multiplying by 10 to give a lowball estimate for base Goku's power, and adding an also lowballed estimate of Super Saiyan Blue at 40,000 times his base form, to be comparable, Buu would need to be in the ballpark of 1.6 million times universal.
Buu is not without his weaknesses, though. He can't channel much of the Grand Supreme Kai's knowledge since apparently most of what he'd absorbed was reincarnated into Oob, which I call BS on because look at him. He's also immature, not very good at blocking since he can bounce back from most attacks, and a thrill seeker to a fault like Goku.
He's quick to outbursts of rage, can quickly lose focus on things or randomly fall asleep, and in general is a bit of a dumbass even if he can get fairly creative with his powers. And although he can regenerate from nearly anything, his stamina is not endless and he can be bested physically.
Majin Buu is an excellent case study that evil is not truly born, it's nurtured. With a little kindness, even the wildest beast can be tamed and become a fearsome ally. I guess he really has come a long way from the enemy of all life he started out as.
On the far-off planet of Popstar, there exists a land of dreams, full of whimsical creatures, delicious food, bizarre sports, and endless friends to be made. Though for a land of dreams, this place gets attacked by unholy nightmares a lot, sometimes literally.
Luckily though, they're guarded by a hero. At allegedly only 8 inches tall, this pink puffball may not seem like much, but Kirby's reputation as a force of nature is well earned. When he's not sleeping, fishing, eating, or eating some more, he's a fierce and reliable hero to the people.
Kirby has come to blows with every kind of enemy you can think of, from the rotund ruler King Dedede to the fierce swordsman Meta Knight, both of whom have since become his besties, and strangely often against sentient trees. Kirby won't back down from any kind of foe. Even when he's cursed to be a ball or made of yarn, he still gets the job done.
Kirby has an impressive set of natural abilities. He can squash completely flat, get impaled, and even be split into pieces and get back up just fine. He can split into multiple of himself, fire energy blasts, summon his warp star for high-speed flight or dimensional travel, resist being corrupted or controlled via his pure heart, and can somehow push away distortions in space by just attacking it hard enough. He can even survive as just a soul, though he needs to absorb a bit of someone else's life force or have another Kirby heal him to reform his body, since he can't really use any of his other powers as a ghost.
Kirby's got an impressive set of lungs too, being able to absorb basically anything by inhaling it. Even energy attacks, ghosts, and holograms. He can spit them out as projectiles, absorb them to nullify them, or store them for later in his stomach, which is actually closer to another dimension. What's with these dimensional stomachs? He can also shoot bursts of air, fly like a balloon, or most notably inhale enemies and assimilate them into himself to copy their powers and gain funny little hats.
Kirby has wielded well over 70 unique copy abilities at this point, but he does have some notable ones. He's mastered the elements with fire, ice, plasma, wind, and poison, all doing exactly what they say on the tin. He's a master of many weapons like staves, guns, bombs, bows, kunai, hammers, and most famously his sword, which he can imbue with elemental properties and fire sword beams from.
Fighter Kirby copies a lot of moves from fighting games and enhances his hand-to-hand combat, as does Wrestler Kirby. Mirror Kirby lets him multiply himself and reflect attacks. ESP Kirby has psychic powers. Wheel Kirby runs along the ground at super fast speeds, and Mecha Kirby comes equipped with energy pistols and a sweet jetpack.
He's able to mix and match different abilities to summon a sick Darth Maul-style lightsaber, form a burning super death sword, fire a missile barrage, or become a fridge. He can enhance his abilities to stop or slow time, or summon the Morpho Sword, which can absorb life force and fire homing attacks. And he can even use his copy abilities with the sick mecha, the Robobot Armor. Artist Kirby can manifest any object, including healing items like the Maxim Tomato. He can become near indestructible with stone or metal, heal himself and boost his stats with sleep, turn into a ball or UFO with forms of the same name, and so much more that would really eat into the runtime to cover. But Kirby has a handful left that he busts out on very special occasions.
His Ultra Sword ability can change into just about any shape or size he needs to send whole screens of foes flying, and his Star Rod fires beams of energy that excel at vanquishing dream-shattering evils. Cook Kirby takes everyone in the vicinity into a boiling pot and magically turns them into food, though he's oddly immune to it, and Hypernova lets him eat things way too big for his usual pedigree.
All of these abilities wouldn't mean a thing though if he didn't have the stats to back them up. He can crack a planet in half with a punch, and he's kicked the shit out of the sun and the moon at the same time. He's fast enough to travel between planets in no time flat and can fight at similar speeds, and he's skilled enough to regularly beat Meta Knight, who defeated the greatest warrior the universe had ever produced, Galactonite. But really this is small pickings. Kirby's defeated the likes of Magolor, who can conjure black holes that rotate dimensions at potentially 7 quintillion times the speed of light, though as this is also potentially infinitely sized dimension based on some citations, it's quite possibly an infinite speed feat as well.
This dimension is also linked to the entire Kirby multiverse, which some estimates have put at over 150 times universal. But Magolor did this with one Master Crown. Void Termina, a later foe Kirby faces, could wield the power of the 4 Master Crowns at once, and Kirby beat him, which puts him at around 600 times universal, right?
Well, Kirby's adventures didn't end there, since he's faced even stronger foes like Fecto Elfelis and Morpho Knight. Assuming each foe is twice as strong as the last and that Morpho's EX form is twice as strong as his base, Kirby could be over 4,800 times universal.
That's pretty crazy, but I noticed we've talked almost entirely about what Kirby can do and not much about who he is or where he came from. Surely there's more to this doughy little orb than just his powers.
Well, truthfully, we haven't been told a lot in the mainline game canon about where exactly Kirby came from. We've seen plenty of others of his species, and there are some lore implications that give us an idea of exactly what a Kirby is.
Remember that Void Termina guy we mentioned? Apparently it was just floating through space for who knows how long, waiting for any kind of stimulation from the outside world, a guiding energy that would inform what kind of being it'd be. Unfortunately, it was tainted by negative energy and became dark matter, the most recurring enemy Kirby's ever faced, being basically composed of negative energy. It existed functionally as Kirby's opposite, bringing nightmares where Kirby brought dreams.
Until the day Kirby finally defeated it and returned it to its true form, where it would hopefully be influenced by positivity. But just before it goes, we get a glimpse at something familiar. It seems that Void Termina, and by extension Dark Matter, are both Kirby?
More accurately, Kirby seems to be the greatest possible result of a being like Void Termina taking in positive energy. Which makes sense, since his strongest power is literally the power of friendship. He can throw hearts at any foe to turn them to his side, has befriended every enemy he's ever made, no matter how objectively and inherently evil they were, to the extent that he can summon them on a whim. And he can literally make up powers and weapons via the power of love and friendship, or summon the people he eats as loyal allies. And of course, there's the obvious of literally defeating the manifestation of negativity with the power of love. A literal infinite amount of this energy is stated to run through his body.
So, Kirby's as powerful as he is and can defeat eldritch deities on a daily basis through sheer niceness?
Hell yeah, and we wouldn't have him any other way. That's the power of love, motherfuckers.
Alas, even with the power of love, Kirby is not infallible.
Don't ruin the moment!
It's true though, Kirby, despite all his skill and power, is functionally still a small child and just as gullible and simple-minded as one. If he takes too much damage, he'll lose his copy abilities, and his well of healing items and resources only lasts so long before he'll run out. He's also not immune to physical damage, even if his body is resilient, and his means of resurrection require specific circumstances he may not always find himself with access to.
But even with gaps in his abilities, Kirby is one hell of a fighter. If you choose to threaten his universe, his planet, his friends, or even just his food, you'd better say your prayers, because there's not a force of nature in existence that this warrior from the stars won't destroy if it threatens the dreams of the universe. Alright, we've got our combatants ready and set. Puffball versus Play-Doh.
Lock in your predictions, because here we go.
Which one of you hit Boo? Hey, you're not very strong. You're not that strong!
Maybe this will hit him. Beam attack!
You make Boo mad! Boo make you dead! Left out! Go away! Let's go! You strong! Ooh, I like you!
Are we sure we got this one right? Kirby's super powerful and all. Any Smash power scaling video can tell you that much. But this is Dragon Ball!
Well, really it's a bit more complicated than that. Let's break up this matchup point by point. First of all, power. Being pretty generous to Kirby, he can reach almost 5,000 times Universal by upscaling him from the likes of Magolor and Void Termina, affecting the whole multiverse. That's no small number, but remember, we got Buu to over 1.5 million times Universal, while pretty massively lowballing him. Considering that Super Saiyan 3 couldn't touch the same foes that Super Saiyan God was pushing evenly against, that and the generally insane power creep of Dragon Ball Super, Buu takes attack potency by a huge margin, and he could definitely obliterate Kirby with just one hit.
But let's look at their abilities. While Buu could obliterate Kirby, Kirby can keep fighting as just a soul, and he has a couple of means of resurrecting to his physical form. Although Buu's life force can't be taken by Kirby, that doesn't stop him from using other restorative items or summoning allies out of the copy abilities he has that he can steal life force from.
But eventually Buu could just burn through Kirby's healing equipment, invincibility items, and revives, right? And he's basically immune to every elemental or weapons-based ability Kirby has, so it'd be easy for him to just wipe out all life and stop Kirby from reviving, right? Well, Kirby also really only needs to last so long until he can get the one hit on Buu that he needs. Buu's Candy Beam likely wouldn't work on Kirby, since he can resist the Cook ability, which does the same thing, but it does affect Buu. See the Evil Buu fight. If Kirby can either use Cook or reflect the Candy Beam at Buu, which he has many means to do so, it's game over.
But more than that, Buu doesn't resist any mental or emotional manipulation that Kirby's capable of. So if Buu's stamina gets too low and he needs to take a nap, that's an opening for Kirby to either eat him and shit him out as an ally, or turn to his side with a love heart. That's literally a win for Kirby by the power of friendship.
But with both having seemingly surefire ways to win, it comes down to speed. By their best measurable feats, Kirby is potentially around 390 times faster. And taking them at their highest ends, they're both infinite in speed. However, with Kirby's multiple means of altering his or Buu's stats, as well as manipulating time to slow down or completely freeze Buu, Kirby has more reliable means to open a gap for an attack. Goku may have overcome a similar time freeze ability, but this was only because Hit's time-based abilities don't work on foes stronger than himself, which Goku achieved with Kaioken.
Kirby's also generally more skilled, being on equal footing with the greatest warriors in his universe, whereas Buu is always kept up via magical tomfoolery or simply overpowering his opponents. At an equal level of speed, Kirby's likely going to be able to avoid Buu's attacks long enough to get a win con off, even if Buu gets a hit or two off that requires Kirby to use some of his revives.
When you add it all up, Buu may hold a monstrous power advantage, but Kirby has the skill, abilities, and survivability to take the win in this battle more times than not, though this is quite the close and interesting debate.
The winner is Kirby.